Hello, everyone.
Welcome.
Welcome. Thank you so much for being here. We're so excited to have you here
Mhm,
today.
mhm.
Um, I guess few more people might be joining us. I know there's a technical aspect to getting on, but we're so excited that you all are here today, and we're so excited to share with you. This is the Art of Radiance, Get Glowing, the Art of Radiance. And I'm Sierra, and this is
I'm Molly.
Molly. And we are both clinical Ayurvedic practitioners, and we are the founders of Cultivate Balance, and we studied Ayurveda for more than 2,000 hours in Boulder, Colorado at Alandi Ashram, and really feel like we've dove super deep into this wisdom and knowledge and are so excited to share with you what we believe is some of the most accessible, deep, true Ayurveda out there. So today we're going to be together for about 60 minutes, and we're going to first just give you a super brief introduction to Ayurveda in general, and then we're going to go over the 4 root causes of skin imbalances so that you can really get at your skin imbalance from the root. And then we're going to give you a really, really cool protocol that Molly here really honed, which is the Radiance Protocol. And in it, it's a 2-week reset. So you'll be able to completely reset your skin, even if you're experiencing a lot of imbalance, using some remedies that you can make at home, or we also have them to share with you. And then we're going to send you away with all of the techniques that you need to be able to not go back out of balance again. So you'll be able to just keep getting at those skin imbalances from the root, and perhaps not even need to use the routine again, or the protocol again.
And Ayurveda, which is the lens that we're looking through right now, is all about prevention. So we're going to give you practices, like Sierra said, that really help you prevent future skin imbalance.
Yes. And throughout the webinar, please feel free to drop your questions into the question box. We'll definitely either answer them in the moment, or we'll get back to them at the end. We want this to be an engaging experience, so feel free to drop them in. So with that, I think we'll just dive right in.
Great.
So Ayurveda is based on the theory that everything within us and around us is the manifestation of the 5 elements. Yeah. Oh, okay.
Okay, so just to backtrack a bit, when we talk about skin imbalances, that's sort of a general term, right? We want to give you an idea of what we mean by that so you can understand how this will relate to you and to your experience, because skin imbalances can show up in so many different ways. So you might be experiencing imbalances like breakouts, rosacea, inflammation, burning sensations, itching, dullness, dryness, eczema, fine lines, wrinkles, and also like aging or sunspots. Anything within that category of items that we've listed is really what we're referring to as general skin imbalances that our Radiance protocol will help with. And we'll also talk about how to prevent these skin imbalances sort of as they relate to the different Ayurvedic doshas, which we'll get into in just a few moments. And basically, we designed this workshop and this webinar and this guide and this protocol because we've both had our own skin journeys, and we know that it can be super frustrating and disheartening and confusing, especially like to be an adult breaking out. And so we're going to talk about why and how that happens, and a lot of it, as you might already know, relates to stress. And we'll deliver this information through the Ayurvedic perspective, which I found to be really helpful for me and for my clients in understanding how to prevent future imbalance, and understanding sort of why things are happening, and empowering ourselves to understand then what is the most appropriate action. That's like the coolest thing about Ayurveda. So we're going to give you simple shifts and home remedies and things like that that will help prevent future imbalance, and also reset your skin if you're having an imbalance right now. And this is important because over the long term, when we have an ongoing skin imbalance, it ultimately results in accelerated aging and decline in functioning of cell growth, elastin, circulation, secretions, immunity, enzymes, all sorts of things are then impacted over a longer period of time if we don't sort of get the reset that we need and start doing the preventative measures. So let's get into it, and we'll start by just giving you a bit more information about Ayurveda, which is the perspective that we are delivering this presentation through.
Yes. So now a little bit on Ayurveda. Ayurveda is India's ancient holistic healing science. So it comes from India, and it's really about honoring the individual. And it is based on, next slide there. It is it's called the science of life, which is the wisdom to live well. Ayur means life, and Veda means truth. And this foundational wisdom actually dates back 5,000 to 6,000 years ago. And one of the really, really cool things about Ayurveda is that it was actually channeled through meditation by the ancient seers or the rishis of India. So that's why we have this picture of these men in India. It was actually a wisdom that existed in the universal consciousness and was brought in through the consciousness of these ancient practitioners. So we're super, super grateful. It was also written down in Sanskrit on, palm leaves, and that was actually after it was passed down for generations through just verbal oral tradition. So it's an ancient wisdom. And the really cool thing is that it still applies in the world today because it was just based on such simple truths. So it's a really, really cool thing to get to learn about now. The coolest. It is based on the idea that everything within and around us is a manifestation of the 5 elements, which I started to say earlier. So there is Vata, which is made up of air and space, Pitta, which is made up of fire and water, and Kapha, which is made up of earth and water. And what you want to think about when you think of these doshas, the Vata, Pitta, and Kapha are the doshas, and those doshas share the same qualities as the elements that make them up. So with Vata, you have it's light, cold, and dry, like the wind, right? Pitta is hot, spreading, and sharp, a lot like fire. And Kapha is heavy, cold, and wet. So you want to think of that really rich, fertile soil that is the earth. And the idea in Ayurveda is that bringing these doshas or elements back into balance in our bodies is the foundation of deep and lasting wellness, because it is the imbalance of these doshas and their qualities that is really the underlying source, one of the underlying sources of disease. So all of the practices that we will mention throughout this workshop are intended to bring these doshas and elements back into balance in your body in a way that the physical manifestations of skin imbalances cannot exist. So it really gets to the root.
And we are going to talk throughout the presentation about how skin imbalance relates to each of the doshas. And just from the presentation, you might start to understand how the elements are manifesting in you a little bit more. And if you want a deeper understanding of that, head over to our website and take our mind body quiz. It's called How Do I Explain Myself? You'll see it if you scroll down on the homepage. But if you don't already have an understanding of sort of your baseline of doshas, then I recommend taking a mind body quiz, and that will give you a little more insight, and it'll help sort of bring all of these pieces together. But the information in the presentation is going to really get you started thinking in that way.
Yes.
All right, let's get to the root of it. So our thoughts and emotions take form in the body on a molecular level, right? It's not just something that comes into the mind and doesn't affect the body, basically. And it happens through chemical messages that are delivered through the bloodstream, right? So hormones. And this is basically what makes an emotional experience turn into a physical response. So maybe you've noticed like you've gotten really stressed before and you've broken out in hives. That is a hormonal communication in your body, messages coming through your bloodstream to tell your body to react in a certain way to an emotional experience. So let's see, emotional experience stimulate hormone production, which then sends chemical messages to the organs in the body. And hormone production is ultimately what regulates basically all critical functions of the body. So digestion, absorption, assimilation, so many different things that directly relate to how you're experiencing your skin. So that's why we're talking about things in terms of hormones, and we're going to explain even more about how stress ties into hormones and how that relates to your skin. And ultimately, when our thoughts and emotions are in a more peaceful state, the body is able to return to homeostasis, which is its like natural balanced state, more readily, and that keeps us in balance. That's like a simple way of putting it. So let's go to the next slide. So stress disrupts our natural state of balance, or our homeostasis, right? Stress can be defined as a tension of the body. And in short bursts, so that's a lot of things, right? I mean, stress isn't just like having a hard day at work. It can be traveling a lot, things that bring your body really out of its normal flow are received as stress. And in short bursts, it's fine, and it's actually good. It's what the body's designed for, and that's why we have this whole hormonal system of communication. So our bodies can react to stress, send a message, and then ultimately return to homeostasis after it's done reacting to the stressor. The problem is when the stressor is ongoing, so when we continue to experience the same stress in a chronic way, that's when stress becomes bad for the body. We're not actually meant to, the body isn't designed to experience ongoing stressors like that, and it starts to affect our body's ability to perform, to communicate, and that's when we see it showing up on the skin, ultimately. So let me see. Yeah. So like I said, ongoing stress is really what's problematic, not short bursts. And when the body continues reacting to ongoing stressors, the glands then keep releasing more and more hormones, right? And this releasing of hormones in an ongoing way depletes energy and ultimately ages the body more quickly. So not only is it impacting the skin by aging the body, but it's impacting the whole body system to be energized and therefore function effectively in all other organs. So, and an example of this is when the body, for example, releases too much cortisol. Cortisol is actually toxic in high doses in the body. So in small amounts, it's fine. And in large amounts, it starts to have a bigger impact that is not healthy anymore. So let's see. So as I've been hinting at, prolonged stress is the mother of all disease. And how does this relate to our skin? So when the skin becomes imbalanced, stress is almost always the leading cause, or at least a related cause, maybe correlating with something else. It's usually stress is the leading cause of imbalance, and then it's exacerbated by things like excess heat, toxic buildup, and dehydration. And those are three things that we're going to get into when we really talk about the root causes. But stress is sort of the overarching thing that will almost always lead to a skin imbalance. So the skin cells are in constant communication with the entire body, and they naturally reflect changes that are occurring within every system. So that's why if there's imbalances going on inside, hormonal miscommunication or overcommunication, it will eventually show up on the skin. And chronic stress actually disrupts cellular turnover, and it slows the process of rejuvenation. So think about how those two items affect the skin, right? They increase the likelihood then of clogged pores, toxic buildup, and dullness, to name a few. And actually, when the body is stressed and responding to ongoing stress, the skin receives fewer nutrients. So it starts to get a little bit dull, a little less radiant, because the blood supply is going to the vital organs instead. It's no longer prioritizing the skin as a landing place for nutrition. And ultimately, when we are happy and peaceful and relaxed, we literally experience our bodies differently. And as a result, our bodies experience us differently. So a big part of bringing about your own radiance is finding peace within. And we'll talk more about stress reduction, but just know that this it's not just about physical practices that you can do and remedies and herbs and foods. It's really about how you're relating to yourself on the inside, mentally and emotionally. It's very important. And one of our favorite teachers says, beauty is the individual totally at ease from deep within the skin and radiant from without. Beauty is being at ease from within. I know it's easier said than done, but it's a reminder for all of us to think about stress reduction in our own lives and remember to prioritize cultivating happiness, because that is the key piece to lasting health and beauty and radiance and all of it.
That was Pratima's quote, by the way. Pratima. Okay, so while stress is really an overarching theme, and we always want to be working with stress to reduce our skin disturbances, another root cause is aggravated pitta, which means excess heat in the body or in the blood. And this can result in skin imbalances that are red. So if you think about pitta, pitta is all about fire. It's the fire water element. So it makes sense that the imbalances that show up are red. So you're going to see more pimples, rosacea, inflammation, and even burning sensations. Everything that's related to fire. And a lot of these will show up around the T-zone and the cheeks of your skin. This heat in the body or blood, the excess pitta, is really aggravated by consumption of hot and sharp foods. A lot of these are really common. So alcohol, coffee, spicy foods, even tomatoes and fermented foods. So kimchi is very, very pitta provoking, is what we say, very heating food that can contribute. Another factor can be ongoing exposure to chemicals, leading to a chemical sensitivity. A lot of chemicals that are in like cleaning products or in salons or any sorts of these chemicals are really, really hot and create a buildup of heat in the body. And this also often correlates with feelings of anger or frustration. So there's definitely an emotional component when it comes to all of the doshas and just wellness, holistic wellness in general. And frustration and anger are really, really hot emotions. If you've heard of the phrase being hot-headed, it really correlates because it's hot and it creates more heat in the body. And inversely, more heat in the body can actually cause more aggravation. So there's a real feedback loop there. One of the best ways to decrease heat in the body is simply to avoid those heating activities. So avoiding or moderating your consumption of the spicy foods and the coffee and the alcohol and all that stuff, and avoiding the chemicals, of course. And again, going back to de-stressing and moderating emotions in general. The people who are most prone to this type of imbalance are going to be people who have the highest pitta in their system. So as Molly mentioned, our mind body quiz, which is on our website, you can go take that quiz and find out what is the balance of doshas in your body starting from birth. And if you have more pitta in your body, you're going to be more prone to seeing some of these types of skin imbalances. Okay, so another factor that stress can compound with is toxic buildup. And this is really related to the kapha dosha, so the earth and water dosha, which is that sort of heavy, dense, wet, sticky dosha. And this can show up as things like cystic acne or just like whiteheads in general, and also itch. Kapha is associated with itch, interestingly. And this can really occur around the mouth and the chin and the neck. And what happens is when digestive fire is low, another real important aspect of health, according to Ayurveda, is the digestive system. And what we take in, we need to metabolize it and turn it into the nutrition that keeps us thriving. And if it doesn't work properly, it can actually result in sort of like a toxic sludge type substance, which is why we have this photo here that is called ama in Sanskrit. And this ama can clog all of the bodily channels. It clogs, everything from the veins and arteries. It's actually like cholesterol to the digestive tract even further. It compounds and slows things down even more. And then it actually goes all the way down to cellular communication and inhibits the cells from doing what it takes to really cleanse themselves out and purge the toxins that are going to ultimately result in skin imbalances. And then you can think about that white sticky substance that comes out of a whitehead or a cystic acne. That's actually ama. It is this toxic substance that builds up when your digestive system isn't functioning properly and slowing things down.
And this is such a key in Ayurveda. If you come to more webinars and workshops with us in the future, we will always return to the health of your digestive system, because that is such an opportunity to bring health to all of your body, right? That's where your nutrients come from. That's how your food is processed. So digestive fire, maintaining healthy agni is huge.
Absolutely. And that is, whereas with the pitta, the excess heat, you want to just simply avoid the things that are causing excess heat. With this specific type of root cause, it really is about gently detoxifying and making sure that your body is always processing the food that it takes in, and it's not just sitting there. So like if you find that you eat a meal and it just sits in your belly, that's a good sign that things aren't moving along very well, and that this sort of imbalance could really crop up.
And we'll give you some ideas about what to do about it.
So. Definitely. This type of skin balance is going to be more common in people who are kapha. So go take the quiz, find out what your dosha balance is. And if you have more kapha, you'll know that this is something that you're a little bit more prone to. Yeah.
Great. Okay, so the fourth root cause that often compounds with stress is dehydration. And this imbalance, or this root cause, is most often related to vata dosha, so the air and space dosha. And it can lead to things like dry skin, eczema, flaky and scaly patches, dullness, fine lines, wrinkles on the forehead. All of those things are related to an imbalance of vata dosha, generally related to dehydration compounding with stress. And the skin really acts as a window into your body. So if your skin is dry externally, it's probably speaking to the fact that your body is dry internally, okay? And dehydration can be a result of stress, because when the hormones are imbalanced due to stress, as we've already talked about, this can actually dysregulate fluid levels in the body. So we're literally not getting hydration in all the areas that we need it. And even more specifically, when the body is responding to, when you're having a stress response that then leads to fear and worry and anxiety, it actually affects the kidneys, because more antidiuretic hormone is released, and this causes the kidneys to ultimately become excessively dehydrated. And that then sort of affects all these systems within. One of the best ways that we like to stay hydrated is to drink warm lime honey water in the morning. So half boiled water mixed with room temperature water to get it to a drinkable temperature, a squeeze of lime, like a teaspoon or less of honey, mix it all up. Warm water is really going to hydrate the body more effectively, because the body doesn't have to heat it up. And it also, the warmth will aid your digestive fire, which, as we mentioned on the previous slide, that is what it's all about ultimately. And so skin imbalances such as these are going to be most likely to occur for vata type people. And that makes sense, because of the qualities of air and space are dry and cold and rough, just like many of these skin imbalances could be described as that. So let's have a little recap. The common root causes of skin imbalance: overarching root cause, stress, usually compounds with excess heat, toxins, or dehydration in the body. And sometimes even more than two of these. I mean, you could have an imbalance that brings in all four, and that, I mean, that's a whole other thing. But just know that it's not always just one or just two. It can be sort of a combination. So stress is the primary root cause. It usually compounds with the secondary root cause, as I mentioned, the three below: excess heat, toxins, or dehydration. Excess heat is related to an increase in pitta dosha, the fiery dosha, and this shows up as pimples, rosacea, inflammation, burning, redness. It's especially around the T-zone and the cheeks, and it's associated with anger and frustration. toxins are a result of excess kapha dosha, and they lead to it's ama toxins in the body, and they can show up as cystic acne, whiteheads, itch, especially around the mouth area. And the associated emotions with this toxic buildup or excess kapha include depression, sadness, and lethargy. Dehydration, which is related to vata dosha, can show up as dryness, eczema, flaky, patchy skin, fine lines, forehead wrinkles. And the associated emotions with dehydration or excess vata are anxiety, worry, and fear. That's it.
So what do you need to do about all of these imbalances? So in order to support the skin, not only in the present moment, but over time, you really want to reduce stress, obviously. You want to cool the blood in the body. You want to unclog and cleanse those bodily channels by getting your digestive system on track. And you want to really, really stay super hydrated. And doing so is going to keep all of your doshas soothed and balanced, which is going to keep you in a general state of health. Anytime, though, that a balance has already been set into motion, you really want to exfoliate to remove the dead skin cells. You want to stimulate that epidermis to encourage new cell growth, invoke antioxidant activity for cellular regeneration and repair, and then provide adequate nutrition for your skin to replenish the layers of skin tissue and optimize the capillary blood flow. All of these processes are hindered when a stress response takes over, so you can really support your skin externally and internally by kind of taking action to do those specific things. So what that means is that you're going to need a reset, right? So that's why we have put together a 2-week reset protocol. The Radiance protocol is really, really a special way to do all of the things that I just mentioned in a really fun and satisfying and nourishing way. So now we're going to dive into exactly how that works.
And we developed this Radiance protocol because, one, as we mentioned, we've both been on our own skin journey. I know a million of my friends are also experiencing a lot of stress that's showing up on their skin, and I wanted to offer tangible and natural solutions. So I got into some super old ancient Ayurvedic remedies and started to try them all and tweak them all to make them accessible for all of us and simple and super effective. And ultimately, this protocol is what we landed on after lots of trial and error. Thank you to all the friends who let me test this mask out on them. And we're so excited to share it with you because it works. And it's like directly from some of the most ancient remedies, just a little more accessible. Because ultimately, it is natural. It is your natural state to be radiant. And it's natural to want to be radiant and to want to return to that natural state. So we're going to walk you through the Radiance protocol. It's basically a 2-week reset that weaves together solutions for these 4 root causes that we've already mentioned, and also solutions that directly not only prevent future imbalance, but directly impact and reset current manifestations of imbalance, which sometimes feels like the most important part because it can be really stressful when something is showing up on your skin and you're just trying to live your life. So we're gonna give you practices that ultimately help encourage healthy cellular regeneration, which is key to getting that reset, to getting yourself back on track so that all the preventative work that you do afterwards can stick. And when you implement this protocol from start to finish, you will reduce stress, you will cool the blood, so you will cool that excess heat from pitta, you will unclog the bodily channels of toxins that are a result of kapha, and you will keep your body hydrated to counter that potential vata imbalance that is dehydration. And the skincare remedies that we're going to show you, there's a mask and a tea and some other things, will remove dead skin cells. They'll encourage rejuvenation and regeneration, as I mentioned, through new cell growth. And it will also reset your cellular memory, because part of ongoing breakouts is it sort of changes your cellular memory so that your cells think that breaking out is the norm, that it's how you react to certain inputs or stressors. And so if we can reset that, then your skin will be less likely to react in that pattern imbalance type of way. And all of that will help you get your radiance back in that 2-week period, which is dope. The protocol is going to provide both immediate and long-term results, which is why we are so excited to share it with you. And as we go through the protocol, we're going to go in order of most immediately beneficial practices, things that are going to be most important for initiating a reset right now. And then we'll move into supportive practices, which will be things to integrate a little more slowly, but to maintain over the long term. Okay. And all of this is really about just supporting you to get back to your natural state of radiance. I can't stress enough that we're not trying to change you. We're just trying to bring back your inherent beauty. It's in there.
It's there.
It's there. And we want to help you make sure that it sticks around also.
And we should mention, we're going to go through all of these practices. And for those of you who are attending live, you are going to get the Radiance Protocol Guide, which is a PDF. It's like six pages long. And it'll have all of the recipes on there. It'll have all of the step-by-step information about how to do everything. So you don't have to be writing furiously. And if you're not here with us live, you can go grab it off of our website under products and goodness.
And the guide is so beautiful and easy to follow, and it really breaks it down in a way that's like fun and accessible. So we're excited for you to have access to that resource, or for you to find it on our website, because it's a key part of moving through this protocol with ease. Yeah, keeping it simple. Okay, so the first key practice in the Radiance Protocol, there are 3 key practices that we're going to ask you to do for the next 2 weeks for that initial reset, and ultimately to lead to preventative measures as well. The first key practice is this fenugreek exfoliant radiance mask, which again is something that a recipe that we have revised based off of a very ancient remedy revolving around this herb fenugreek. Maybe you've heard of it before. We'll talk about the benefits of fenugreek soon. But the cool thing about this mask is that it's both nutritive and cleansing. You're going to apply it every day for the next 2 weeks, or from your start date. You'll leave it on for about 10 to 15 minutes. You'll wash it off, and it's going to take you right into your reset. The mask itself is a mix of fenugreek, triphala, chickpea flour, and turmeric, yogurt, and water. And am I on this slide? No, I think we can go to the next one. Yeah, so that's the list of ingredients there. I'll tell you how to make the mask. And again, the ratios, the specific recipe is all broken down on the Radiance Protocol Guide, but you can also take notes now. So to make this mask, you're going to mix a teaspoon of fenugreek powder, a teaspoon of triphala powder, 2 to 3 teaspoons of chickpea flour, a pinch of turmeric, 3 or a little bit more teaspoons or tablespoons of water, and 1 tablespoon of full fat yogurt. So to get it all going, you're going to take all the dry ingredients that I listed. So the first 4 ingredients bulleted on the slide there, and you're going to add your 3 tablespoons of water. Mix it up really well to dissolve all the chunks, all the clumps, and then leave it to soak just on the counter for at least 6 hours, but overnight is better. The soaking really helps improve the texture of the mask, and it really helps the medicine of the herbs sort of permeate and activate. And it'll make it a lot more effective. So at least 6 hours, but overnight on the counter is ideal. And then the next day, when you're ready to do the mask, you'll add in the yogurt, a tablespoon of full fat yogurt, and mix that in. And then the mask is ready to go. You can apply it to your face, leave it on for about 10 to 15 minutes. If you want the mask to be a little thinner, just add more water, no problem. And once you've made the mask one time, it's good to go for the next 2 weeks. So you'll just continue, you'll use it the first time, you'll put it in the fridge, and you'll continue to just apply the same mask every day for 14 days. And let's talk about why.
We
Oh,
do have, this is,
yeah.
just show you here, I guess you can see it on the screen, but we do have a little sample right here. And you can actually, right now, if you wanted to, go buy this on our website. We are going to sell it pre-made just because it's so much easier than going out and tracking down basin flour, which is a chickpea flour and whatever, because if you really just need a small amount. So go on, again, on our websites under products, and you'll find that there.
Yes,
Make
yes,
it easier for you.
and let's just talk about why this mask is going to be so great for you. So the skin actually ingests nutrients, which is crazy. So when you apply things onto the skin, they bypass the digestive system and actually are absorbed right into the bloodstream. So putting nourishment on the skin is a really effective way to feed the body ultimately, and the skin to feed the skin specifically. This mask is both cleansing and nourishing, which are really the two keys to taking care of your skin and to establishing radiance. The cleansing component is especially important for removing toxins and dead skin cells, but without stripping away the natural oils of the skin. And that's why we really don't recommend using like harsh store-bought cleansers, because basically what happens is when we cleanse the skin very harshly, we strip away its natural oils. And what does the skin do in response when it doesn't have natural oil on it anymore? It produces more oil, and that then can lead to clogged pores and sort of this like pendulum reaction. So we want to cleanse the skin enough to get the grime and the dead skin cells off, but without stripping the skin of its natural nutrients and sort of base lipid layer. And another key, the key ingredient in this blend is fenugreek. It's an Ayurvedic herb, very traditional, special herb. And a cool thing about it is that it's heating to the body. So that means it's going to promote capillary blood flow and circulation on the skin, which will ultimately increase cellular metabolism so the cells can regenerate more effectively. And it'll also help the cells process to cleanse impurities before they surface on the skin, which is key. Increased circulation through the heat of fenugreek will also flush out toxins and enhance complexion. And you're not going to actually experience this mask as hot on your face, but it's a heating action. Another key ingredient is chickpea flour, also called basin, which is a great gentle exfoliator. So super important for cleansing away dead skin cells, and removing dull skin, and also keeping the pores clean. And the reason why we talk about cleansing dead skin cells is because your skin cells are shedding by the hour. So we want to be actually doing a very mild exfoliation every day to just keep the skin fresh and not dull. We don't want to do harsh exfoliating because that will actually tear the skin and bring a little more redness into it, which is not what we want. But a really mild daily exfoliation is incredible for bringing about radiance and really letting your skin shine through. Another great thing about chickpea flour is that it contains zinc. Zinc can fight bacterial infection that arises or that leads to cystic acne. And chickpea flour also helps control excess sebum on the skin, and it soothes heat and inflammation, which is excellent. Turmeric is another ingredient which is antimicrobial, so again keeps acne causing bacteria at bay. It also reduces redness and puffiness, which is great. And yogurt, another ingredient in this mask that you will add to the powder yourself, is probiotic and hydrating. It also has lactic acid. This is like my favorite thing about this. This blew my mind. I never thought of it. Yogurt has lactic acid, so it actually is dissolving away dead skin cells. It's like sort of giving you the effect of a facial, but in a very safe and controlled and gentle way. And lastly, just the process of massaging the face to apply and remove the mask is going to improve circulation and also strengthen connective tissue. And it will ultimately reduce stress a little face massage.
Yep.
Do we have a question?
Yes, we have Sarah's asking, when I use supplements with fenugreek to support breastfeeding, I got really itchy. Do you think applying it topically would cause the same problem? And the first thing that comes up for me is it's hard to know what else was maybe in the supplement, like if it was the fenugreek specifically. I haven't heard of a fenugreek allergy as like a common allergy necessarily, but it might be worth trying it on like another patch of your skin, like somewhere else, you know, on the inside of your wrist, which is also like a nice soft skin, to see if it causes an itch.
Yeah,
there.
I think that's a great idea. And if you found that it did cause an itch, reach out to us and we will give you an alternative option to make this mask. I already have some ideas, but if fenugreek works for your body, it's key. And if it doesn't, you have our support. I have some ideas.
Some other ideas. Yeah.
Cool. So now we're on to the tea. Thanks, Sarah. If anyone else has questions, just
please
type them in. We're here for you.
Okay, so while an external remedy is a really fun and an effective way to reset, we also need to, over the long term, do more of an internal remedy. So the second step in the Radiance protocol is to drink Hibiscus Radiance Tea every day for 2 weeks. We are drinking it right now. It's a beautiful, yeah, it's too bad you can't see it because it's just an absolutely gorgeous red color. I guess you can see it in the photo, but this is a jar that has some made in there. We are like fully in love and obsessed with this tea. The great thing is hibiscus, and I'll get into the reasons why each ingredient works, but hibiscus is really cooling. So this is really working on that pitta piece, cleansing out that excess heat in the body and the blood. And again, for those of you who are attending live, you're going to get the PDF that has the recipe. Otherwise, you can go get the PDF and you can make it at home, or you can buy the pre-made tea on our website and just make it real easy on yourself. So the ingredients in this hibiscus tea are hibiscus petals. So you'll do 1 teaspoon hibiscus petals, and then 1 teaspoon rose petals, 1 pod cardamom, and then 1/8 of a teaspoon ground cinnamon. And so you would add about a teaspoon of this blend to 1.5 cups of, actually it's more like a tablespoon of this blend to just boiled water. And then as your tea is steeping, you want to really infuse it with an intention or an affirmation that's about perhaps radiance or anything that you're currently working on. And we'll talk a little bit more about intentions and affirmations a little later. And then you'll steep it for about 10 to 20 minutes. It really is great to steep it for a little bit longer to really extract some of the nutrients, especially in like a harder herb like a cinnamon. And then you'll strain and compost the herbs, and then you'll drink this every night for 2 weeks to cool the blood. You can enjoy it at room temperature, or you can enjoy it hot. That it's cooling enough that it'll still be cooling for you.
And if you decide you want to try the Radiance tea on our website, know that it's a bit more of an extensive recipe. The Radiance tea that we produce has about 9 ingredients, and we wanted to simplify the recipe to the 4 key ingredients that were most accessible, so that you would have the option to make a version of it for yourself without having to like go to a million different stores and buy all these herbs. So just know that you can make this one on your own with the recipe that Sierra just gave, and you can also try the one on our website that is a bit more extensive and also really, really excellent.
Yeah. The one, if you're on the website, scroll down on the page and you'll actually see a list of the ingredients. And Molly is the mastermind behind this tea, and it is genius. And all of the benefits of all of the ingredients are listed, and it'll honestly blow your mind. And we can't stop drinking it. So, yeah, that's true. Yep. So here's why it works. So hibiscus, as I mentioned, is very cooling and soothing to the blood. So it does reduce that pitta, which is going to reduce the heat and inflammation in your body, which reduces the red manifestations on the skin. Hibiscus is also just generally known to clear complexion. And as an added bonus, it's really, really supportive for the female menstrual cycle. Rose supports the skin through its soothing, cooling, and astringent properties. It also removes excess heat. And then rose also eases and opens the heart. So it's really working also on that energetic and stress level component. Cardamom is quite possibly our favorite Ayurvedic herb. It's really great for everything. It's great for all of the tissues of the body. It's really excellent for all the different systems of the body, including the circulatory, digestive, nervous systems. And each of those systems, you can imagine, are deeply intertwined with the clarity of your skin. So,
and if you know anything about us, you know that we do not leave the house
without cardamom. We have
like
here's
tiny
our
little
cardamom
that
container.
we both carry around. So it's key, and we want more cardamom in your lives also.
True. It's said to promote clarity and joy also. So that's, a reason why we carry it, and also a reason why it's great for your skin, because again, working on those subtle energetic levels. It also activates antioxidant enzymes, stimulates metabolism, and reduces blood pressure. So all really great. And then cinnamon, the fourth ingredient in the blend that you can make at home, increases circulation and is blood cleansing, which means that it helps to eliminate that the toxic sludge, that sort of kapha byproduct that can clog the pores and cause the cystic acne. And cinnamon is also antimicrobial, so it will help fight the bacteria that can also be a cause of some of the skin conditions that can crop up.
Yes. Okay. So now we're going to talk about nutrition for balanced skin. And this will lead us into our third key practice. There are 3 key practices total in the Radiance protocol. And let's talk about just how you can support radiance even more holistically by bringing it into your choices around diet. So the third key practice in the Radiance protocol, in addition to the mask and the tea, is to avoid dairy and wheat for just 2 weeks. We can almost guarantee that if you do this step alone, your skin will start to clear up. It makes such a difference, and we're going to tell you why. And part of it is just allowing your system an opportunity to reset and to re-energize your cellular metabolism to inspire more radiance. So let's get into it. Thank you. Why does it work to cut out dairy and wheat for a reset? Well, dairy and wheat both are heavy and dense, sort of those kapha type qualities, which means they're more likely to dampen the digestive system. And as we've already mentioned, strong and healthy digestion is key to all of their health, including balanced skin. When the digestive system starts to get dampened from too many heavy and slow and dense qualities, like from foods like dairy and wheat, it actually turns into toxic waste, ama, in the body, which then can show up as cystic acne and all sorts of things, rather than becoming nutrients for the body, which is the point of eating, ultimately. And that toxic waste can then clog the bodily channels, which reduces cellular turnover, clogs pores, results in skin imbalance. You can sort of see how that happens. Dairy specifically is tricky because the cows are often treated with artificial hormones. And when you ingest that dairy, those artificial hormones impact your hormones and throw off the communication within your own endocrine system. And then when it comes to wheat has gluten in it, right? And gluten is specifically heavy and sticky and dense. So really those qualities that are clogging the channels, right? And wheat has the potential to clog the channels. And especially processed wheat, because what happens in the processing is that they actually add more gluten. Very often they add more gluten because it expedites the process, but ultimately that's a higher ratio of gluten than the body is used to processing, than the body knows what to do with, which then results in the body not processing all that gluten very effectively, turning it into toxins, clogging the channels, leading to skin imbalance. Another tricky thing about refined and processed wheat is that it contains really processed vegetable oils and preservatives, both of which slow down metabolism, clog the bodily channels, as I mentioned, lead to toxic buildup, skin imbalances all the way down the line. And this is especially tricky in the West. It's a big thing in the United States. The way gluten and wheat are processed and preserved is more of the issue than the wheat itself. So for our purposes of this 2-week protocol, we ask you to remove wheat entirely. And then when you reintroduce it, if you're someone that eats wheat, just think about ways to bring it in more mindfully in terms of quality ingredients, checking out the processing, and keeping it really
Freshness.
simple and fresh. And then, we don't think wheat is all bad, but for the purposes of resetting and really giving the body a break to activate digestion and cellular metabolism, we cut it out entirely. And then you can decide how you want to bring it back in with more awareness after the protocol. So that's the third key practice: to avoid dairy and wheat for 2 weeks. And then if you want a little bonus, if you want to think of something else that you can remove during this time, fried foods.
Same qualities.
Seems obvious. Yeah, they have that process. They're processed and preserved, right? But they also have oils that are not high quality, that clog the body's channels, slow the metabolism. The oil itself increases heat and inflammation, which can show up as those pitta type imbalances, those fiery imbalances, and lead to toxic buildup and clogged pores and all of it. So those are some things to avoid, but now let's talk about the things to focus on in your diet.
Yeah, we are all about integrating more goodness and less about generally restricting.
Mm-hmm.
So we are excited to tell you what you can eat more of.
Yes.
During the reset and also just going forward in life, 3 of the best things that you can eat for your skin are just greens. So greens, beets, and quinoa are 3 great ones to integrate. Cooked greens specifically. Greens are bitter, and the bitter taste is cooling, and it therefore soothes excess heat. And it also promotes bile, which helps to cleanse out the liver. Greens, and actually all of these foods, you want to cook them really well. In Ayurveda, we talk a lot about cooking our foods, not only to release the nutrients that are stored within and actually make them more bioavailable, but also to be more compatible with our digestive system, so that we're not adding a light, rough, cold quality to our digestive system, which really thrives with a warm, moist, oily dynamic. That's what will actually fuel the health of the digestive system. So keeping things cooked is going to help them assimilate better and also keep things moving, and great, you'll be feeling good. Another great one is beets. As I said, beets are blood cleansing, which means they clear toxins, and that, as you know, will help cleanse the skin. And then quinoa is light, which means it digests relatively easily, and it's also cooling, and it has a cleansing property. Just it has a little bit of roughness to it that'll also help, we like to say, scrape toxins out of the digestive system. And quinoa is a really great alternative to have you feel really satiated instead of eating wheat or even rice, which can be a little sticky as well. So in the Radiance Guide, which we've talked about, it includes recipes that incorporate these cleansing foods. So you'll find the glowing greens, the radiant quinoa khichdi, and then also a chia seed pudding, which is just a fun way to reduce pitta and also keep things moving and clear as well. So all right. So now let's talk about lifestyle and daily routine. We're going to put it all together for you. We're going to give you a simple daily routine that you can follow for the 2 weeks of the reset, and then you can build pieces of that into your life moving forward. And daily routine is really a key part of Ayurvedic wisdom. It's all about realigning with the rhythms and elements of nature, and that rhythms piece is a really important component, having that consistency and really working with the energies that are at play during different times of each day. So we're going to dive right into that in a minute. And as part of what you will do every day is affirmations. We've gotten a lot into the physical aspects of this healing and cleansing your skin, and those can act really quickly. With affirmations, it's a little bit more subtle and it's a little bit more long term, and that's why you'll integrate them every day. And I'm just gonna stop real fast to see what question. Okay, we'll come back to that at the end, Jenny. Oops. Okay. So we're going to just take a minute to prepare our mental and emotional space, because as you know, the stress component and the mental emotional space is really an important part, and stress can be the root of all disease. So if we don't start thinking about ways to soothe our mind, we're really overlooking a really important step. um, Affirmations are this idea that the things that we tell ourselves every day actually create our reality. We are actually magnetizing that which we focus on. And so by focusing on the positives, telling yourself a positive statement, even if you don't fully believe it in the moment, you can start telling yourself this affirmation, and it'll actually start to shift your reality and actually start to manifest differently on your skin. It is that magical. um, so to create an affirmation, you simply tell yourself an affirming statement based on how you want to feel in the world or how you want to be in the world. And so you give the phrase a positive twist, stating it as if it's already true. So rather than saying I want to be radiant, it's I am radiant. And you do your best to actually embody that feeling on the inside.
And you can also think of other affirmations in terms of the emotional imbalances that we mentioned that align with the skin imbalances. So if you're a pitta type person, you're experiencing pitta imbalance of anger and frustration, your affirmation might be, I am calm, I am relaxed. Or if you're experiencing kapha, sort of heavy depressive energy, your affirmation might be, I am light, I am happy, I am joyful. So you can think about weaving those things in terms of creating your own affirmation as well.
Yeah. So you can start to think right now about what your affirmation that you'll use in your daily routine is, and maybe make a little note, jot it down for yourself right now. Um, so why does it work? Oops. See here. Why does it work? As we shift our way of thinking, repetition of positive or affirming thoughts becomes a meditation in itself. And a meditation in and of itself, you hear a lot about meditation. It is the action that is the soothing. So affirmations mitigate stress just by the simple act of focusing your mind on something positive, and that helps to bring clarity and peace to the mind. This also enables you to start making choices. If you have in your mind that I am radiant, I am radiant, you start to actually make aligned choices to make it true. So very tangible, one to one, like I believe this, and so I make choices that align, and then it comes more and more true. Speaking words aloud and having these positive reoccurring thoughts actually rewires the pathways in the brain, and it shifts your actual system of belief. And when you start to believe something new, as I said, it can actually shift your reality. It's kind of mystical and magical, but it's pretty wild the way the universe works. Yeah.
It just works. So try it and
Yeah.
then circle back and tell us how it works for you.
And on a more tangible note, from a hormonal perspective, positive thoughts produce endorphins, which stimulate the immune system and promote overall health. So we really aren't like glazing over this affirmations piece. It is more subtle, but it is, Ayurveda being a very holistic healing science, this is definitely a key part of it.
And it's a key part of prevention, right? It's a subtle thing, but it's also like long-term health, stress reduction, radiance. It all happens through the way that we speak to ourselves
and think. Yeah. It's all about that self-love.
And I'm noticing that we're hitting the 1 hour mark. We're very close to the end of our presentation. We're going to go through just a quick morning and evening routine, tell you a few bonus beauty rituals, and then we'll send you on your way. We'll also answer questions. So if you can stick around and stay with us for just a little bit longer, it's only going to keep getting better. So,
well, so the way that you'll use your affirmation is you'll think of that positive affirming statement, and then you'll say it aloud to yourself a few times a day. So whether that's when you first wake up in the morning, you sit up in bed and you just say, I am radiant, I am radiant. Maybe you're sitting at your altar, maybe you're in the shower, maybe it's while you're driving to work. So whenever works for you to integrate that statement, say it at least 3 times, either aloud or to yourself in the morning and the evening.
yes. Mm-hmm. Good.
Yep.
All right. So now that we've gotten into the lifestyle piece a bit and we're talking about daily routine, we're going to bring everything together so you understand during this 2 weeks, how can you structure your day? How do you order things to make sure that you get all the little practices in? Super simple, but it's just a nice structure to make sure that everything you need to do happens. So in the morning, during this 2 weeks that you're doing your radiance protocol, you're going to wake up, rinse your face, cleanse it, nourish your face, so moisturize however you normally would. Then drink warm lime honey water. As we mentioned, that's not only going to be hydrating, but it's actually going to be cleansing to the digestive system and activating to the digestive system. And it'll also be the bitterness of the lime is a bit cooling for pitta as well. And then just take a moment whenever you can to meditate on your affirmation. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And obviously throughout this whole routine, you are also going to be avoiding dairy and wheat in your meals. Once you get to the evening, you will prepare your radiance tea. You'll gently wash the face, rinse the face, and then apply your radiance mask. You'll leave it on for 10 to 15 minutes, gently remove the mask. I like to splash cold water on my face and then massage it off in a circular motion. You can also bring in a washcloth if you'd like. Be gentle, use circles. And then moisturize the face and meditate on your affirmation. And a note on moisturizing, we really like to use the combination of a facial serum, like an oil, and a hydrosol, which is like plant water mixed together in our hands. We have some favorites, which include Evan Healy's line. They make a nice neem facial serum, and they also make a few hydrosols that we love. We also love moon baths. What's
Moon Dew?
Moon Dew, which is a great hydrosol as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and be sure to not only prepare your hibiscus tea, but drink 1 to 2 cups of that delicious hibiscus tea as you sit and meditate on your affirmation as well. Sure. Okay, so we also wanted to just give you a few great beauty rituals that you can add in. These are really bonuses, but ones that we just absolutely love and wanted to share with you. So the first one has to do with growing luscious, beautiful brows and lashes, which we're all into. And castor oil is actually the secret. And so we apply a thin layer of castor oil to each brow and then to the lashes every night before bed. It's also just great for your eyes. It's very cleansing and nourishing and promotes hair growth. So castor oil is actually the secret ingredient in a lot of lash serums that are expensive, and you can buy them at fancy places. Yeah. So just get on that castor oil.
You got the secret.
You got the secret. The second bonus bedtime remedy is for cuticle care. So using argan oil to rub into your cuticles just before bed is going to just really prevent your cuticles from tearing and also kind of reduce the likelihood that you're going to be chewing on them as a stress response. So that's a really nice one to keep your cuticles hydrated. And then the last bonus bedtime ritual is rubbing the soles of your feet with sunflower oil. Traditionally in Ayurveda, it would be sesame oil. That's a more heating oil, but that would be the tradition. Sunflower is also used in Ayurveda, and the idea here is that you're really grounding that vata energy, and it'll actually help you sleep really, really well, while at the same time making your feet soft and beautiful. You just rub a small amount of that oil deeply into the soles of each foot right before bed. You don't have to use a lot, so it's not going to get on your sheets. Just a small amount, and you'll sleep like a total queen.
And the practice of oiling your body is like the Ayurvedic practice of a lifetime. We talk about it all the time, just like we talk about loving cardamom all the time. This is like one of our staples. So get into it. I think you're going to love it.
You'll love it.
Okay, so what comes next? We've talked about prevention and also having a real reset, and how can we continue to maintain those preventative practices. So first, establish a daily skincare routine, something that cleanses and nourishes the skin without stripping away the natural oils. Find time for activities that reduce stress. So practice meditation, journaling, but also your affirmation. That's something you can do ongoing. Eat more cooked vegetables and fewer dairy and grains. And when you do enjoy dairy and grains, just be really mindful of the quality and the other ingredients involved. Stay hydrated by sipping herbal tea or warm lime honey water, and enjoy things like spicy food, alcohol, and coffee in moderation. And if you look at this list, you'll see that each of the points connects to one of the imbalances we talked about. The first one, to establish a daily skincare routine, is going to support overall radiance, and especially in the moment. Reducing stress will support that stress response, as we've talked about, as the root cause of imbalance. Cooked vegetables and fewer dairy and grains will relieve that kapha toxic imbalance. Staying hydrated will prevent that vata imbalance, and fewer spicy foods, alcohol, and coffee will prevent that pitta imbalance on the skin.
Yeah. Okay, so you have gotten a taste now of this just incredible wisdom that is Ayurveda. But as you can imagine, this is truly, truly just the beginning. This is a deep and epic and wise holistic healing practice that we just are so fortunate to have gotten to study. And we are so passionate about translating this wisdom into something that can apply in these really, really tangible steps for you in the modern context.
It just works.
It just works. And one of the things that Molly and I really love about Ayurveda is that it really puts the power back in our own hands. It's a super empowering practice to be able to look at things according to what their qualities are, and actually have the information based on who we are and what our dosha balance is, to know whether or not each individual fad diet or food or whatever it may be is good for us on an individual level, because we're empowered with the knowledge of what the qualities are. And there's so much more for you to learn about that in this vast body of knowledge. So right now we would just want to share a quick opportunity with you all to go deeper with us, and just join us for this absolutely wonderful world of Ayurveda. So Molly and I actually spent about a year writing a course called The Art of Ayurveda, The Ancient Secrets of Self-Care. And this is a 3-part course that dives into the elements of wellness, which is talking all about those doshas and understanding how they manifest within and around us and how that impacts our health. And the second part is called Nourishment for Vitality, which really gets deep into the digestive system and ama, the toxins that are also a source of dis-ease in our lives, and how the digestive system can be a true source of vibrant health throughout our life. And then there's a third part called Lifestyle for Resiliency, which is all about routines and rituals and daily practices that can just really draw out your deepest vibrancy and resiliency, and zest for life, and by realigning again with the rhythms and elements of nature. This course is a participatory online wellness experience, and we have a little discount code that we'd love to share with you so that you can dive in as a participant of this webinar. We want to make that offer.
So within the course, we really want to provide everyone with the opportunity to love themselves more, improve digestion, sustain energy, enhance mood, and ultimately prevent disease. I mean, those things are really what Ayurveda is all about, and what makes it so special and unique and so powerful and effective. And that is the foundation of this course.
And it's really an opportunity to gain a new perspective on the world around you. As I mentioned, it's when you start to see the world through these qualities that Ayurveda has distilled, you really get a sense of what works in terms of wellness for you. So in the Art of Ayurveda, there's going to be 18 engaging modules of self-paced learning material that we've put together. There's access to a private Facebook group for Q&A where you'd have direct access to us. We're always on there answering questions. There's tons of downloadable recipes, remedies, guides, checklists, everything you need to really make Ayurveda apply and work in your own life. And then tools for inspiring your body to function optimally and heal itself. We're going to give you all the little pieces to the puzzle. And at the end, you get a certificate of completion in the Art of Ayurveda, which doesn't certify you to go out and teach Ayurveda, but it does demonstrate your commitment to your own wellness and the wellness of those around you.
Exactly. Yeah. A big part of our model in teaching and sharing the wisdom of Ayurveda is really related to this idea of radical self-care, and that if you are taking better care of yourself by learning and understanding the tools to nurture and appreciate yourself, then you are better able to show up in the world, to take care of your family, to do your job, to take care of the planet. It all starts with you, and that is that's why we're doing this.
Yes, yes, yes. Um,
And
so
one more note is that not only is the course self-paced, but you can take it at any time, whenever you want, and you will have access to it forever. So you can really take your time with it. You can go back and go through it again and again, and do it on your own.
yeah. So we have a link that will drop into the chat box, and so that you can go ahead and enroll right now. If you enroll within the next 24 hours, you get a coupon code for $50 off. Instead of $199, the course will just be $149, which is actually a ridiculously low price. We used to sell this course for $495, but a real important part of our model is to make Ayurveda accessible, and we want to make it accessible to everyone, regardless of what you're up to in the world. And we were finding that a lot of activists and people who work for nonprofits and things like that it was a little inaccessible. So it's really part of our model.
Totally. And it is a $500+ course in terms of value, and it means so much to us to be able to offer it to all of you at an accessible price. So know about that. Please reach out if you have any questions at all, and we will go ahead and take a moment to answer Jenny's question from earlier. Can you read that out loud for us?
Yes. Jenny says, where would you suggest buying the ingredients for your tea and mask if we wanted to make our own?
Yeah. So things like the trickiest ingredient is probably the chickpea flour, which you can buy at an Indian grocery store or like an Asian grocery store. Chickpea flour and fenugreek powder, both you can get at the Asian grocery store. Triphala you might be able to get if it's an Indian grocery store specifically. We also order our triphala online from a really great place called Banyan Botanicals. We can send out a link for the triphala powder as well. Turmeric you can get at your grocery store. Hibiscus, rose, cinnamon, and cardamom you can buy some grocery stores will have those, but otherwise any like sort of tea shop that sells bulk herbs. So like in Boulder, we have a place called Rebecca's Herbal Apothecary. Any sort of herbal apothecary that sells bulk herbs would be a great place to get that. Otherwise, also Banyan Botanicals online or Mount Rose Herbs will have those loose leaf tea items.
And always organic whenever possible. Yes. Is definitely, again, avoiding all the chemicals is really key. And I am sending the link to the course in response to Jenny's question, because hopefully that goes to everyone. Otherwise, you will see an email that'll have that link for you that we'll send out right after this, and that'll be make the course available to you at that discounted price. So.
Great. Thank you all so much for your time, and we hope that you learned a lot and are excited to get started with your own radiance protocol. Know that the products are on our website, and now you also have the tools to make them on your own.
Yep, the website's cultivatebalance.com, just in case you didn't know.
And again, I'm Molly, and this is Sierra, and we hope to see you at our next virtual workshop.